Just waiting for it to load. I have my tea right there. It's a chamomile tea. So I am sitting on my couch right by my window because it's getting pretty dark here, and this is the only place I can get natural light. So I think this should be good for about 20 minutes to half hour before it starts to get pretty dark. So that's why I'm sitting here. Hopefully we can do it in enough time and get all the questions out. So I have been getting a lot of questions lately about wheat and gluten, and if I, crave it, and if I wish I could have it, and if I will ever have it. I know a lot of you guys don't have Instagram, so I answer a lot of these on Instagram, but I know that a lot of you obviously don't have it, which is why I do these YouTube lives, so that for those who don't can benefit from my answer here. So for those who are following me on Instagram, you might have heard me say this before, but I honestly don't crave wheat anymore, along with pretty much all toxins and junk that I used to eat, and it's the truth. Before, when I first started my journey, all that was on my mind was cake and burgers, and if I was at someone's house and they had a pizza, it took every fiber of my being and self-control to not have a slice. And it was because it was a totally different mindset then. So over time, as I really started to appreciate and understand that food is fuel or food is medicine, and understand that the way I used to eat in the past was not healthy, not literally from ingredients, but like mentally and emotionally. It was more like binge eating. So as I changed, I started to really understand the ingredients in food and what they do to my body. And because of that, I just don't have any urge to eat anything junky anymore. Like my husband will always ask, if you could, would you go get like a McDonald's burger? And I honestly wouldn't, just because I don't crave it anymore. I know that what the ingredients are. Before, I used to go to Dairy Queen and always have to have the ice creams and stuff, and I honestly don't care about that stuff anymore. I do crave ice cream, but I never eat anything with food coloring or like mint chip or bubble gum. I always try to go for as pure as I can, ideally dairy free. So I just try to eat clean stuff, and the same thing goes for wheat. I think I can have wheat because I've accidentally had it a few times. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll know a couple times I accidentally had it, not knowing, and I didn't have a reaction to it. So I'm pretty sure, I'm not celiac. I'm totally fine to have it, but I just don't want it. I don't have a craving for it. I only want things that I know are good for my body, and I'm not just saying that, it's the actual truth. Hey everyone, thanks for joining. I'll be getting to all your questions. So I just wanted to share that because I know how tough it is when you're starting out. If you used to have a poor diet and now there's so many things you have to eliminate. I know the struggle, like the mental struggle to not eat these foods, but if you just stick with it, it is so worth it. The kids are awake, by the way, so you'll probably be hearing them. I have a few people asking, how do you just stay away from these junk foods? And the first thing I say is never let yourself be starving or hungry. Always have prepped healthy snacks on hand. Always kind of graze throughout the day so you're not starving and then just start eating anything that's in sight. But the other thing is, it honestly just has to come down to you and how bad do you really want to heal. And if you want it bad enough, you just won't touch those foods, no matter how addicted you are to them. So I just want to share that with you guys, because as you stick with this protocols or regimes or whatever you're doing, over time you'll notice that those foods that once were like appealing to you, you just don't even want to touch, not because you're craving it but you have self-control, but just because you truly don't want it anymore. So hopefully that's the case for a lot of you. Just gonna open up the chat here. Sorry, just getting comfortable. I wonder if you've ever mega dosed vitamin D for psoriasis. Actually I skipped a few. Hey guys. I have. I used to do, I never exceeded 10,000 IU a day. So for a good while when I first started cleansing, it was in the winter and I wasn't really going outside much. So I did do 10,000 a day for a good month. After that, I really dialed it back and started just doing about 2,000 to 3,000 IU a day. Once my psoriasis cleared and I felt like I was doing a lot better and absorbing the vitamins and nutrients in my food, I don't supplement with vitamin D anymore. And now that it's summer, I go outside as much as I can. But that was at like the highest. I've never done higher than 10,000 a day or in one day. Okay, Can you talk about healthy treats for kids? Also, what do you think of magnesium creams and sprays? Good question. I'll start with the sprays actually and the creams. I've never used magnesium creams, but I do use magnesium spray. I actually have one in my nightstand and I just randomly spray myself. It's never consistent. When I was deficient in magnesium, I not only supplemented, but I also did magnesium baths and then did magnesium sprays because I really was deficient and was not absorbing them. So sprays are great. I would always spray them in areas that they can absorb very easily, so the armpits or the feet. And they work really well. Now I take them if I feel like there's ever a little bit of inflammation or anything like that. I don't use it as often or consistently anymore just because, but you can also pour the actual spray into a bath and absorb it that way as well. Healthy treats for kids. My kids will get anything that they're craving in a healthier way. So literally if your child is craving a cookie, then I would just make it as healthy as you can with the ingredients you have on hand. For my kids, they are thankfully not picky eaters, and I think even when I was at my the most unhealthy time in my life, I always made sure they never had junk, and I always gave them like healthy veggies and salads. And throughout my pregnancy, even though I was super unhealthy and I loved junk food, I still loved vegetables and salads and healthy foods. So I still ate those, and I think it really just kind of influenced the way that they eat. So thankfully my kids were never picky eaters, but even so I would sneak greens powders, spirulina, things like that into like cookies that I would make, and you honestly wouldn't taste it, but then you know they're getting an extra dose. So anything that your kids want, whether it's chicken fingers, pancakes, French toast, like there's literally, if you just go on Google, there are so many healthier versions of it that you can just make. If you're looking for packaged stuff, I have a few favorites. So Welo, W-E-L-O, are my favorite like granola or energy bars for kids. They have full-size ones, little ones. They have probiotics in them and they are gluten-free. In terms of candy, my kids really like Smart Sweets, and they like, I think it's called Bio Raw, B-I-O Raw, and they have like wine gums and gummy bears. So if your kids want a candy, it's like made with fruit juice and stuff, or like food coloring free, so they're much better option. And then for like suckers, we like the Wetter Spoon. I think it's W-E-D-D-E-R spoon or something like that, and they do Manuka honey lollipops. So those are what my kids do for candy. Otherwise, like they'll do popcorn. Like sometimes I'll buy organic popcorn with avocado oil in a bag. So it really depends what your kids are into. But if they want something, I would just recreate it in a healthy way, and that's the best way to go because you know exactly what is in them. So I hope that kind of answered your question. I'm driving and I'm in traffic. What a great time. Well, hopefully you're not in traffic long because that can be stressful. Do you recommend enzymes and probiotics for a 13-year-old? Yes, unless there's no reason to. Like if your kids' digestions are great, if their stools are fully formed, if there's no undigested in their food in their stools, like if they seem like they're fine with their digestion, there's probably no need. But if you feel like they have some digestive issues, 100% give them enzymes for a good few months. My kids do get them, especially if we're eating out. My favorite is the Bio enzymes from Genestra. They're chewable, they taste like peppermint. I think they're sweetened with xylitol or stevia. They're really good, and they're a full spectrum. So my kids do like those ones, but there are like capsule forms too. So if your child is old enough to swallow capsules, then you can do a capsule enzyme. But yeah, there's no reason why your kids can't have them. Thoughts on fasting mimicking, aka Prolam protocol? I am not sure what that is, sorry. Little Johnny Jewel, I'm answering your question. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. I don't know, like I do like the basic 16, 18, like give or take type of fasting and stuff. I don't know much more about, all the new fasting things, like terms out there. Hey, Maria. What's your opinion on MSM? It's fantastic. You don't want to supplement with it long term. Like I do recommend it for a lot of clients, a lot of people with psoriasis, skin issues, joint issues, but you don't want to supplement it with it for too long because your body stops, producing it itself. So as with any supplement, I would just do like a month on, a week or two off, a month on again, and hopefully, that's probably enough. And if it's not, then just do like 1 more month, but don't do it for like a prolonged period of time. But it is good for detoxing as well. So I use tea tree oil when I have breakouts and it clears right up. Yeah, tea tree is fantastic. I love that you're using essential oils. Tea tree is great because it's a antibacterial, antimicrobial, antifungal. So if you have acne, it helps to like literally cleanse the skin from bacteria. So it can really help. I'm currently using Vitex for acne. Is that okay herb to consume long term? No, I would not consume Vitex long term because it does try it. It works on your like with a hormonal level, and you don't want to unnaturally, play with the hormones for more than a few months. So even if you're doing like diindolylmethane, like DIM, that's meant to reduce estrogen, you don't want to do that for too long either, because again, you're unnaturally reducing estrogen, which means progesterone can build up a little bit. So same with Vitex or Chaseberry, you want to make sure that you're just doing it for a couple months, just when you need it, and that's it. Like your body is supposed to be balancing hormones and doing all of this stuff on its own. So supplements are there to assist you when you need, but don't just take it long term, because then it means you're not addressing the root issue. You're kind of just trying to balance out your hormones, but you're not actually looking at why your hormones are out of balance. So do it just to get you through whatever you need to get through, and then hopefully as your symptoms really alleviate a little bit, you can look deeper at the root cause and try to fix that, rather than supplementing long term, because it can hold on. Yeah, there we go. It can just kind of mess with your hormones, and your body might, have to compensate somehow for it. So I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to build an audience on YouTube, and I'm following all the rules and being consistent, but I'm growing so slowly. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So there's a guy, I'm trying to think of the channel. Every time I want something, I can't think of it off the top of my head. YouTube creators. Check out YouTube Creators YouTube channel. He's amazing at explaining how to grow your YouTube channel organically. That's the thing with YouTube is, so I have 2 channels. If you guys don't know, I have it used to be my main channel called Marla Isho, so it's just my name. And I've had it for 5 years. And I'm only at 9,000 subscribers. Like, it just grows so slowly, and I've uploaded like hundreds and hundreds of videos on there. So I spent a lot of time, and it just grows really slow. So it's more of a hobby channel for me now, and it's more just to reach moms and chat. But that's just how it is. It just depends how saturated your niche is. And there's a lot of things you can do to get your channel out there, but it does take a lot of time. Finding what your audience actually wants to see. Once you upload a few videos that are like amazing, that that your audience really enjoy, those are what you want to stick to. So for me, my audience actually loves when I do any videos on minimalism or cleaning, like a cleaning routine. So I know this is irrelevant to a lot of you, but what I try to do is, if I have time, I try to get those types of videos out, as I know that those are what perform best. Just like on this channel, I know you guys love what I eat in a day videos, so I do try to get those out as much as I can because they perform the best. So you have to find what your audience likes, is what I'm trying to say, and then try to produce that kind of content. Can you do more videos on children, what supplements to take, and healthy food your children eat? Yes, I can definitely do that. I uploaded a few videos about kids and diets and eczema and all sorts of stuff, but kind of going back to the last question, they don't perform really well. And for the time that I spend putting those videos out, if they get just a couple hundred views, for me, it takes like hours and hours to come up with content, to film it, edit it, upload it. So sometimes I just don't post much about kids because I know that a lot of you don't have kids, which is why you're not watching the videos. But I will do more, just if you're interested in what my kids are currently on. Every day they get cod liver oil. The reason why we supplement with that is because we don't do wild caught fish 3 times a week or as much as they need it. And kids with their very fast development, especially with their brains, you want to make sure you're supplementing with some sort of healthy fats. They need the fats. And my kids, we ideally try to do wild caught salmon, once a week at least, but sometimes we don't. And I want to make sure that they're getting those omega-3s in. So we do that. They get hemp hearts and flax in their smoothies all the time. So they get omega-3s from there. And then just in terms of other supplements, they always get probiotics no matter what. Right now, they are on the Genestric cod liver oil, and they are on the Genestra HMF multi-strain. So there's 20 billion, I think, and 16 different strains. So that's what they're all on right now. They each get 1 capsule a day. My youngest, who is 2, gets half a capsule, so she gets 10 billion a day. And then if we're eating out at a restaurant, which we've been doing a little bit more of lately, they always eat gluten-free, but we've been eating out a little bit more because I've been so busy lately. So when we eat out, they do the bioenzymes from Genestra. You can hear her. So that's been really helpful just to make sure that they're actually digesting their food. And what else? They get greens powders in their smoothie, and that's it. So that's what they're on right now. If I feel that they need something extra for some reason, then we kind of get into it. Like my son Aaron, when he used to have eczema, we did a fungal cleanse. So then I used some homeopathics and stuff for him. But overall, this is what they just kind of get for maintenance and every day. If I feel like we've gone through a period where they've had a lot of sugar, like Christmas or Easter, they get a multivitamin. So I also like the Genestra HMF, so Human Microflora Child Plus Multi. So it's a probiotic and a multivitamin in one. It's a chewable. It tastes like berries. It's amazing. So that's what they would get if I feel like they weren't getting as much nutrients as they should. So hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, I will do my best to try to get more videos on what my kids eat. If you follow me on my mom channel, Marla E Show, I post what my kids eat in a day on there. So hopefully you can check out some of those videos in the meantime. I have psoriasis and eat vegan diet. What can I do to try to help get rid of it if I don't have a lot of money? Yes. So if you don't have a lot of money, you can't like buy a ton of supplements. Diet's where you want to start. So you have to just start by eliminating trigger foods. So gluten, dairy, cane sugar, nightshades are the top. And then you can go a step further and do pork, beef, eggs, fermented food, oranges, and coffee. So those are histamine forming, anti-inflammatory foods. Peanuts are on there as well. If you eliminate those foods, then you can look at doing slowly adding in supplements, but that's a good place to start because inflammation comes from what you're consuming. So eliminate those from your diet. With the vegan diet, it's fine. You can totally, get through with it. The only thing is you want to make sure that you're not overdoing carbs, so not too much banana or sweet potato or rice, as they will feed fungal or candida and cause more fungal overgrowth. And when you have psoriasis, you have fungal overgrowth, so you want to be careful with that. So you're going to have to find other sources of calories, so probably lean more to the fats, as you can't get like chicken and stuff if you're vegan. So hopefully that answers your question, but alkaline is the most important. And then if you're to do any supplements, high dose probiotic and liquid chlorophyll or chlorella powder, so something green 3 times a day, and that will help alkalize, and that's a good place to start. Also for that question, before I answer the next one, hot lemon water just for the liver as well, because you want to support your liver. So I was told I have a fatty liver. What are the best steps to take? Fatty liver can be reversed, even though they'll say you probably can't. It can definitely be reversed, but you want to get rid of all sources of sugar from your diet. You want a high fiber diet, very anti-inflammatory, all of that. In regards to supplements, you need to do a good liver flush or liver drainage. I recommend homeopathics. They are the most efficient for fatty liver, but you can definitely do herbs and stuff. Hot lemon water, ginger shots, chlorophyll, and then find some sort of herbal tincture for the liver, whether it's like a St. Francis herb liver tincture or omega alpha liver flush. Find some sort of liver tincture to help detoxify your liver. If you're consistent with it over time, you will improve, but you do have to get rid of all sources of sugar from your diet. Can you overtake liquid chlorophyll? Yes, you can overdo it. So liquid chlorophyll, at the center of its molecule, it has magnesium. So it's very high in magnesium, which means it can cause diarrhea if you're overdoing it. But it also has copper. So if you're getting a clean source, there should not be any excess toxins or anything like that. But it still does have copper. So you do want to make sure you're not overdoing it, or you can displace zinc in your body and have too much copper. So after a little while, if you've been doing it for a good couple months, you want to make sure you're either supplementing with zinc or switch over to chlorella or spirulina so that you're not getting as much copper. I did it for about 3 months on chlorophyll, but I was supplementing with zinc always. And then I switched to chlorella and then spirulina and then back to chlorophyll. So never, with any supplement, never just take the same thing over and over, and never overdo it, as less is always more. Always. What would be the symptoms? for symptoms for overdoing chlorophyll, it's different for everyone. Usually diarrhea, maybe too much die off at once or detoxification at once. You might notice like a flare in any of your symptoms. How can you help your body to restore the gut flora after taking steroids? You need to cleanse your gut from bacterial imbalance, and then you want to do a high dose probiotic. So currently the most potent one on the market is from Genestra. It's the HMF Intensive 500. So there's 500 billion in that one. After you do a Candida cleanse, I recommend starting to seal up the gut with things like gelatin, L-glutamine, slippery elm, marshmallow root, aloe vera gel, and then flood your system with those 500 billion probiotics. You can do 2 packets a day and do 1,000 billion. You have hundreds of thousands of billions of probiotics in your large intestine. So 1,000 billion a day might seem like a lot, but it's a tiny, tiny amount compared to what's actually in there or what should be there. So you can do like 1,000 a day, but just start slow and don't just jump to that high of a dose. But yeah, probiotics, flood your system, be consistent with them for a good year, a few months to a year, and you'll get good results. What's a good routine for glutamine and leaky gut? Not sure what that question means. I do L-glutamine 2 times a day when I needed it. It would be 5 grams AM, 5 grams PM in some water with a bit of lemon or in a smoothie or something like that. Recommendation for Candida care for a child. I have a video on eczema and kids, and in there I talk about exactly what to do for Candida overgrowth, but essentially you want to do, depending on the age of the child, you want to do some sort of antifungal, probiotics, and then support their liver somehow. So again, homeopathics are what I use on kids because they're fully safe, whereas herbs, you have to be very careful because they can really end up doing more harm than good with the kids. So it really just depends on the child's age. But check out that video. I do kind of go into detail about what to do. Caprylic acid is great. Lots of like cinnamon teas and warming spices are great for them as well. Is seed cycling a good long-term solution for treating hormonal issues? So seed cycling will help to balance hormones, but it won't actually treat it or heal you, as you have to look at why do you have hormonal issues. So rather than just trying to balance them and being like, okay, I'm good, you have hormonal imbalance for a reason. So you have to look at why. It usually comes down to your liver not actually detoxing the excess hormones that your body produces. Your endocrine system like just produces hormones and your body uses them as they need, but whatever's excess should be eliminated through your liver. If it's not, it means your liver is not functioning well. So rather than just using seed cycling as the way to do that, you want to address the liver. Seed cycling should be done just to help get your periods regulated and all of that, and men can do it too. Men have a cycle as well. I think it's 72 days long. So you can look at the traditional Chinese medicine cycle for men if you want to know more about that, and their hormones and stuff. But seed cycling is great, but it doesn't address the root cause. So it helps to balance things out, but why are they out of balance in the first place? You have to address that or you'll always have that problem. So I hope that makes sense. If you can't see my full face, you have to completely expand the video on your cell phone. So on the bottom right corner, there should be some sort of square to make it a full screen, and then you should be able to see the full video. How long do you have to stay on antifungals? Well, antifungals work if you have gluten-free oats in your diet. Antifungals, you would want to be on it anywhere from 2 to 6 months, so it depends on the degree of overgrowth that you have. You don't want to be on them for that full time. You always do a few weeks on and then a week off, or a few weeks on, a week off. Depending on the overgrowth you have, if it's severe, you can't do oats, even a small amount, as they will you'll kill and they feed, and then you kill and they feed. So if you want to get it ahead of the game or ahead of them, you have to eliminate oats. Some people's overgrowth isn't as bad, so then you don't have to. And it also depends on the type of antifungal you're taking. If you're doing really powerful, strong ones, then a little bit of carbs won't do too much damage. But if you're on just something more mild, then you can't do any carbs at all, except for some berries maybe. Is cassava flour okay for Candida and leaky gut? Is there any blood tests that confirm Candida? Cassava flour is a carb. So if you are on a low carb diet, I don't recommend cassava, as good as it is. For blood tests, there are a lot that can confirm Candida. I prefer the ones that are looking for, the antibodies present in the blood. However, I made a video telling you about the Candida testing, so I do recommend checking that out because, in my opinion, they're not always accurate, and I explain why in that video. So just to save some time here, I recommend checking out that video just to answer that other part of your question. Thanks, Jessica. Is HMF Intensive have all the strains you need? It has, I think, 4 of the main strains. So you never will replenish all of the strains that your body has. And as you adapt through life, and depending which city you live in, which house you live in, where you move, the strains are always adapting in your gut. So you always just want to make sure you're having the core strains, the ones that make up the majority of the bacteria in your gut. So that does have those main strains. And then usually if you have diversity in your diet, if you're eating from local farmers markets, if you're maybe planting your own food, doing some soil-based probiotics here and there, you'll be getting everything else that you need just from your environment. But the core strains are, there's 2 lactobacillus and 2 bifidobacterium strains that you want, and they do have that. What's the name of the probiotic? It's called HMF, so like human microflora, so HMF Intensive, so Intensive 500 for 500 billion, and it's from Genestra Brands. I will try to link it in the description of this video once I upload it, if I can remember. If I forget, someone can just comment and remind me on that video, and I will do it. Are cold liquids foods bad for the digestion? They are, yes. So if you can, do room temp or warm. I love herbal teas, matchas, anything that's warm. Smoothies are okay as long as you're not like literally having them morning, noon, and night. Is BioK a good overall probiotic? I don't recommend BioK because they either are dairy-based or rice-based, but I don't like some of the ingredients in them personally. But if that's all you can have access to, then they might work for you. Oh, sorry, something scrolled. I lost where I was. Where was I? Sorry if I missed a few questions. I kind of jumped. Okay, so in terms of the HMF Intensive, depending on how long you want to take it for, it depends, again, on your health. If you did several rounds of antibiotics, if you were on birth control, if you did tons of steroids or any type of like hydrocortisone shots or anything like that, you want to be doing a few rounds of the probiotics. And the reason is, when you're born, you get populated with this bacteria. As soon as you do antibiotics, it wipes out most of them, if not all. And the only way for them to replenish is if you're supplementing. But the problem is the strains you're born with, technically born with, and that you get from your mother and from the breast milk and the environment that you're in during birth, those are the ones that you need to constantly replenish themselves. So if they die off after antibiotics and then you go and just take some probiotics, if they're different strains, it takes a lot longer for those new strains to really take hold in the gut because they are not the original strains. So I hope that makes sense and that I didn't confuse you. So depending on how many rounds of antibiotics you've had, your age, all of that, you would probably want to do a good few rounds of the HMF 500, and then after that maintain, every month or every other month with maybe 50 billion a day. So I would do a few rounds. I personally did 3 rounds of the 500. After that, I honestly felt amazing in terms of digestion and skin. So after that, I started just doing 50 billion. Now I do around 10 to 20 billion a day just for maintenance. I did get tested when I had Hashimotos, I did get tested for it. It wasn't as severe as my psoriasis was. It was harder for them to pick up everything because I had so many different autoimmune issues that they were like having a hard time picking up the different antibodies. But I did get tested for it and I did have the antibodies. I personally, when I was looking at my values and my numbers, I personally thought it wasn't fully Hashimoto's, that it was more just because of the psoriasis and my other autoimmune issues, my IBD and everything else, that there was just a lot of inflammation. And as I started, rebalancing my system, I found that Hashimoto's was one of the easier things to improve. Like my hair loss, my eyebrows, like they're they're doing a lot better, but they used to be like literally missing here and stuff. My hair took the longest to come back, but overall I felt like Hashimoto's was the easiest to rebalance, and I think that it's because my antibody levels actually weren't that high compared to like my psoriasis and stuff. And oh no, I didn't. I never retested because I felt amazing. I just don't need to. I don't see what the point is. I'm sure there'll always be antibodies present because it's literally in my genetics. So I don't see a reason why I would need to retest. I feel great. But if you want to see, like, after you did a cleanse and all that, how it helped, you can always retest to see the new levels. I'm going to be signing off because it's been half hour and I'm pretty tired. My birthday was May 12th and also Mother's Day. And then our anniversary, my husband and I's 6-year anniversary is tomorrow. So this past week has been amazing, but a lot of events and outings. We were supposed to be in Florida this week, so I took it off of work. But my kids' passports didn't come in on time, so we had to cancel our vacation to Disney with the kids. So we are rebooking it for the fall because this whole summer we have a ton of weddings and stuff, so it's just not going to happen. But what we're doing this week was like just taking kids out, going to the movies, bike rides, just spending good quality time as a family. My husband is out doing a little bit of work, so that's why I came on YouTube. So I am going to sign off though because I am pretty tired. I did have a long week. I was out gardening all day. But I want to come on here and answer a few of your questions. I do encourage you guys, if you're not, to follow me on Instagram because I share so many answers to a lot of these questions on there, but also like exactly what I eat in a day, supplements I take, awesome like healthy Candida friendly recipes and stuff on there. Talk about leaky gut. So if you guys are looking for like extra support outside of YouTube, I would follow me there if you have Instagram, just to kind of stay in the loop. If not, if you only have Facebook, I also share all my Instagram posts to Facebook. So if you just are looking for some extra recipes, you can follow me on Healthy Life, Happy Life Facebook page as well. So I'm not going to be answering any more questions. But if I didn't get to your question or if I skipped over it accidentally, leave them in the comments once I upload this video and I'll get to them at some point. I will try to link the probiotic in the description as well. So I really enjoyed talking to all of you. Thank you so much for joining and we'll chat soon. Bye.